Let me tell you what 200,000 plus subscribers and 36 million views on YouTube can't give you. Now, over the last 13 years, I built a YouTube channel from a pastime to my full-time job. Over 200,000 subscribers, 36 million views, a few viral videos along the way, and I mean, that's supposed to be success, right? But here's the truth. It never actually gave me what I wanted or what I was hoping to get. And that's why I'm starting over. I'm not quitting the other channel entirely. I still like to talk about tech, which is the subject of that. And so I'll be there doing that thing from time to time. But this right here is the new path that I'm building for myself and hopefully for people who want to do something like I finally figured out for myself. And now let me tell you why. First, here's what I learned after 13 years on YouTube, and I'm going to tell you this for free. Views and subscribers don't matter. They feel good for a minute, you get a spike of dopamine, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be famous, or whatever. It feels good, right? But then it slows down, and not as many people watch, and you're just left with like a big number. And then you put out another video, and maybe that one does a very small number. And then suddenly you're just chasing numbers. I mean, you start to value yourself on how a video performs, whether or not it does this, that, or the other thing. And God forbid you actually are making a sponsored video that, you know, if nobody watches, then they don't sell anything, and then you don't look good to them anymore. And you lose sight of why you started this thing in the first place. And that's what's happened to me. The channel became a cage, and the more successful it got, the more I had to compromise, I guess. Compromise? When I went full time, it became a different thing. I stopped making what mattered to me and started making what would please other people. I had to make make the machine dance. I don't know. I just wasn't doing the thing that I set out to do. So how did I get here? Let me take you back a little ways, just for some history. I have always wanted to make my living being myself, and I have always been a creator. I spent my high school years in bands. I mean, I was in a children's choir when I was 8. I used to sing for my family when I was 4. I wanted to be a musician. I played in bands and moved to New York City, worked jobs that I hated in editorial, and made records and toured and opened for bands that went on to be big bands. And we even had a real fancy entertainment lawyer that was, the same lawyer as he represented, like Sonic Youth and bands that I really loved. So I was super excited, and we almost got a couple of record deals, but it didn't happen. And then, as we went into our 30s, my wife and I decided it was time to have a kid. And so we started doing that. And eventually we went the route of IVF. And it just, as they say, when you have a kid, everything changes. We moved back to West Virginia, where I was from. And to be honest, this was a low point for me. I mean, I recognized that what I wanted music to be was not going to be what music was going to be for me. Didn't mean to rhyme there, but my wife we were just talking one night, and she knew that I'd been struggling, and she was like, look, you have to figure out what the next thing is, because if music's not going to be the thing that you hoped it would be, then there has to be something else. Otherwise, I don't want to sit around here watching you feel sorry for yourself. So I'd always been a writer, and I'd had friends who had gone to school for writing, and I took every undergraduate class that I could for writing. And so I decided to apply for grad school for creative writing, fiction. And I applied to 2 programs, West Virginia University's program and the Iowa Writers Workshops program. And Iowa is very competitive to get into, like, upwards of 1,000 applications every year and 25 spots for fiction writers. We bought a house in West Virginia. That's how much I thought I was going to get in. I wrote 50 pages of a novel and just sent it off, and lo and behold, I did get in. Like, I thought I was being punked. I had to look people up to see if they really existed. That's how much I thought it was not real. But I went off to Iowa and wrote a novel, finished a novel, I guess. Short stories. I wrote a whole collection of short stories. That was my graduate dissertation thing. I got a relatively decent fellowship in my second year, and then I got another fellowship to teach after that was over. And so I started teaching, and then eventually I ran a humanities and writing program for one of the programs at the University of Iowa that doesn't really have a lot to do with humanities, and it was a great job. It was a great job teaching. I helped start a podcast. I edited a literary journal, ran an international conference, and helped students with their writing on a one-on-one basis. It was great, but I did that for about 10 years, and in 2013, I had started making YouTube videos because in 2012, I had quit drinking and I needed something to fill up my evenings. I was playing games with a friend of mine from college, and I just gotten a gaming headset, never had one before, and I got one that was $75, which I thought was kind of expensive, and it was terrible. So I made a video about how terrible it was, and then I got more headsets and made more videos, and eventually people started watching the videos. Now, I was making these videos, if the product was good, I was going to say it was good, but I was making videos because I felt like when I researched the headset that I got, I'd heard a lot of good things about it, but when I put it on my head, it was like two trash can lids banging together. So I just made videos, and first it was a hobby, and it was fun, but in 2018, things started to pick up. And that year, I gained over 100,000 subscribers and 11-something million views. It was crazy. It shot me into a stratosphere that I was not prepared for. And it was really a mind fuck in a lot of ways. But still, in 2019, I was 47, going on 48, and I felt like this was my shot to make a living doing what I loved, which was to create things. But I came to understand over the next several years that the channel, Painfully Honest Tech, was not really built to be a business. There are a bunch of ways to make money on YouTube, and the four main ones are AdSense, affiliate marketing, sponsorships, and merchandise. Now, AdSense is the revenue sharing that YouTube splits with the creators from the ads that they put on videos. In order to make really decent AdSense money, you got to be pushing like 500,000 views to 1 million views per month minimum to do that. And then it's not really something that you want to rely on, like have a bad month and get no money if you're relying on AdSense. It's a nice thing to have, and YouTube is the only platform that does this, but you don't want to rely on AdSense. Affiliate money, I did a lot of affiliate marketing, but I didn't really do as much as I probably needed to in order to make it a big part of my revenue stream. And then so sponsorships became the thing that were the primary revenue drivers for my channel. And that was not what I intended. So there was a cost. Painfully Honest Tech, for most of its history, had not been a sponsor-friendly channel. I was critical. I was blunt. I said things that other people weren't saying, or saying things that maybe didn't need to be said. People got pissed off. Samsung stopped inviting me to their parties, and Google stopped replying to my emails, and it was just like not the perfect setup. But over time, I also got really, really burned out on sort of the drama and the negativity as COVID happened. I just didn't see the point in like complaining about the refresh rate of a smartphone screen when, there were lots of things happening in the world that were way more important. So I kept on with the channel, and in 2024, going into 2025, I was making more money than I had been making for the whole time that the channel was going with sponsored videos. But here's what I was making the most money that I'd made, but more and more, I hated it. I just hated it because it wasn't building something that spoke to me, that wasn't doing the thing that I wanted to speak for me. Here's what I finally saw clearly. I don't want to, nor do I like to sell things, especially not for other people. I don't want to feel like that pressure. I've always wanted to be my own thing. I want to share what I have to offer the world. I love teaching. I love helping people figure things out. I am a problem solver, and I love helping creators. Some of my favorite conversations have been with other creators about what it is that they're trying to do with their channels, and how can they, what's the next step, or what are they not quite figuring out. It's just something that I've always loved to do. What I have to offer, of course, is not for everyone, and that's the point. This channel and the direction that I'm going now is the total opposite direction of what all of the gurus and everybody else say you should be looking to do. I'm not going to be like, here are 10 ways to get your first 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours so you can get monetized. Because I'm here to tell you, that is not a goal. YouTube is a great platform, and you can come on here and say and do just about anything, well, less than you used to be able to, but it's a great platform for that reason. But there is a game to it. And if you come onto YouTube wanting to figure out well, how can I go viral? Then you're asking the wrong questions. You don't need to go viral. You don't need millions of views. You don't need to chase trends or become a game show host like Mr. Beast or create fake excitement over something that you're just not excited about. Those things are fake. And I just don't think that anybody needs to do that. If you have something that you want to share, if your business is teaching people needlepoint or helping software engineers in the early part of their career build their portfolio, whatever it is, I don't know, whatever it is that you have to share on YouTube, you don't need 1 billion viewers to do it. And that's what this channel is about. You need clarity. You need purpose. You need to understand the actual goal that you have and finding the right people. Mass views are fun, but are you talking to the right people? You could make a great impact on a number of lives with just a few hundred, a few thousand views on a video if you're talking to the right people. And you just have to make your message match the mission here. That's what this channel is about. That's what I want to help people do. I've been a creator for 35 years. Made mistakes, burned out, learned stuff, but now I want to help others build something that is more real than 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. I want to help people figure out how to make the videos that will allow them to reach the people who want to and need to see them. If that's you, then stick around, subscribe. I've got a community that you can join. It's brand new. You could be the first. you could be the first. Link down in the description. Or if you think that you want to try and figure some more of this stuff out, there's a link for booking a discovery call down there with me whenever you're ready. But honestly, let's make the message match the mission. Let's be honest creators and build something that's worth building.